It's time to look at the second entry into the Evil Dead franchise, and of course that is Evil Dead 2. So let's get going. Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer, and of course this is the channel where we talk about professional wrestling, we talk about horror movies, and we look at all the ways that they intersect, connect, and everything in between. And as I already said, we're talking about Evil Dead 2 today. Now, this is a bit of a spoiler from my ranking video that's coming soon, but this is my favorite entry in the franchise, and you know what, that might be a little cliche and kind of the general answer that you get from most people, but I can't change my favorite entry in the franchise just because other people say that that's their favorite as well. And I know that there are a lot of good movies in this franchise, and you know what, I don't think that there's a bad movie in this franchise for that matter. But that being said, I want to talk a little bit about Evil Dead 2, and just like the first review, this isn't going to really be about the plot. I'm going to mention some things from the plot, but this is mostly just going to be about my feelings about the film as a whole. So of course, Evil Dead 2, kind of the first, 15 minutes is a sort of remake of the first film. You trade out most of those characters from the first one for just two characters, Ash and Linda. Now, Linda here is played by a different actress, but that doesn't really matter. That's not the point. So they arrive at the cabin in the woods, just like they do in the first one, and you kind of get the same story beats as that first film. You know, Linda turns into a deadite, and then Ash has his run-in with the deadite, and then so on and so forth, and it ends with him getting launched out of the cabin, just like the first one ends. Now, here we wake up with him in a puddle in the middle of the woods, and when he rises up, he is a deadite himself. Now, of course, he doesn't really stay a deadite the whole time. As he goes throughout the film, we get a lot of those things that actually make us think that this is an Evil Dead movie. We get those things that really solidify this as the entry that most people think of when they think of Evil Dead. You get Ash losing his hand. You get that line of him saying, "Give me back my hand." And you get the chainsaw, you get the boomstick, and you get all those things that really make this movie an Evil Dead movie. Now, where this differentiates from the first one is it's a lot less straightforward horror. The gore is there, which I really like, but you still get those comedic elements that are going to be more prevalent in the third film. But here, they're kind of just mixed with the horror in a way that I think is perfect. You know, Sam Raimi brought somebody else in to help him write this film. Bruce Campbell returns, and his physical acting is even better than the first one. You get the whole sequence of him running around the house just nonstop for a couple minutes, it seems like. And I really, really like that scene. That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire franchise. You get him attaching the weapon to his hand that he has cut off now. You get the whole fight with his hand and all those things. And it's wonderful. I really like the way they balance the comedy and the horror in this film. Now, of course, aside from that, you have this little subplot of these characters coming to the cabin as well. This girl is returning to the cabin to try to find her dad, and she has an associate with her, and she has this other people that were helping her carry her luggage through the woods. Now, when they get there, they finally all discover that the girl's mom is in the basement, Henrietta, and she is a deadite, and you get all of those, hijinks from that little subplot of the film, and it's really nice to see Sam Raimi being able to just meld these two different things together. He created a whole new story and a sequel out of the story he told in the first film, and I really, really enjoy that aspect of it. So, my favorite things about this movie, Bruce Campbell. You know, Bruce Campbell as Ash in this movie, like I said earlier, is the kind of the thing that people think of when they think of the Evil Dead. This is the portrayal that really just solidifies him as that character. It really just cements him as an icon in the genre and in the franchise. His dialogue is much better in this film, I think. His acting is much better in this film. He's a little older, a little more mature, a little more seasoned, and that really just, I think, plays into the strengths of this movie. He's able to deliver that dialogue with more gusto and more Ash-like qualities, I guess. Another positive is going to be the gore. Again, I really like the gore in the first film, and I really like the gore in this film. It really I'm a gore hound. I really like gore in my horror movies, and these movies really deliver that for me. I think the story is it's stronger, it's better written, and it all fits together in a way that just it feels perfect to me. I don't like saying the word perfect a lot when it comes to reviewing movies, because I think there's always room for improvement, and I'm not going to say that there's no room for improvement here, but I definitely think that this is as close to perfect as you can get for an Evil Dead movie. Now, I know a lot of people review these movies based on nostalgia, and nostalgia plays a role in what I'm saying here too, but not really at the same time, because when I look at this movie, I'm looking at it from the lens of somebody who is trying to be analytical of this movie and discern different aspects that I like, different aspects that I don't like. I'm trying to leave my thoughts from when I was younger behind and just look at it now. And even doing that, it's still my favorite movie in this franchise, and I still love all the things I loved about it before. I actually found myself disliking a couple things that I didn't dislike before. Now, that being said, some of the little negatives that I have about this movie, it kind of drags a little bit. Now, younger me didn't care. Younger me was just enthralled by what he was seeing on the screen. But me looking at it now, I definitely kind of feel it. It's not a long movie, but there are some scenes towards the middle of the film where I'm just kind of like, come on, let's go. Now, again, that's not a big negative. That's not something that's really going to lower the rating of this film for me, but I noticed it nonetheless. And honestly, the only real negative other than that I saw was more of an understanding of why some people prefer other movies in this franchise. It's not really a negative, but I can definitely see these films as other people see them. I can see what they like about those other films, and I can see what they dislike about those other films, but I can see that for this one in particular, and I really understand how you're going to have a camp of people who like the straightforward horror aspect, you're going to have a camp of people who like the straightforward comedic aspect, and you're going to have people like me who kind of prefer that mix. And that's why this film is perfect for me. Again, I don't like using the word perfect, but I'm using it in this instance just to solidify that this film is the one that I view as the best in the series. Now, the reason that I didn't really go through the plot of this movie is because I wanted to hear from you all. I want to hear what your favorite scene from this film is. You can tell me your least favorite scene in the film, for all I care. I just want to hear from you all when it comes to this film. Now, I said we're going to keep going. We're going to review Army of Darkness, and we're going to review the remake, and then we're going to rank them. And I think you already know how my ranking is going to go as far as which film is going to be in the top spot. Now, barring something just crazy happening as I continue rewatching these films, that's probably not going to change. However, it's still worth ranking, it's still worth talking about, it's still worth reviewing all of these individual films because, like I said, this is one of the most consistent film franchises in horror history. There are a few other ones that I think are pretty consistent, but this one's up there too. And I really appreciate everything about all of these films, and especially Evil Dead 2. That being said, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about today. Let me know down in the comments what you feel, like I said before. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit it. There's going to be a lot more Evil Dead content coming your way. We just dropped a quick wrestling video talking about CM Punk. Go check that out if you haven't done it already. Those videos are going to be up on the screen for you to see in just a moment. But until next time, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.